Hello, this is Travis, aka Viste, and I'm the developer of Chronos Trials RPG. Today I want to talk about some of the issues the game has been facing, some of the things I've got planned for it, how it's going, and just kind of some of the ideas I have about the game. So, first thing, save files. Big thing at the minute, a lot of people are losing their save files, and there's a reason for it. It's just because I keep adding new features that the old save files just don't have. So, essentially, I am constantly adding new things to the game. I'm adding new foundations, new mechanics, new features, and most of these are set up or initialized when the game creates a new save file. However, if I add these features, provide an update, and then you continue, a lot of these features just aren't set up properly because it's not done through a new save file. And so, whenever you try and use one of these functions, such as leaving a house and picking a relic, that's when a lot of the crashes happen. So, this is essentially just a result of me actively developing and modifying the game's content. So that's why a lot of the crashes are happening. The reason I'm doing all of this now is obviously when the game releases, I can't have save files being lost constantly. It's not good. So I need to make sure that all of the foundations are built now. I need to make sure all of the mechanics and the features I have envisioned for the future are in the game now, so that when the game actually releases, I can just simply build upon them as opposed to having to build them from scratch and cause more crashes. So that's why a lot of the save files are corrupting. And I'm really grateful for everyone's patience. I've actually not received too many harshly worded responses to losing this save file, which is great. And honestly, it would be justified because it's happened quite a lot now, and I apologise for that. It's something I try and avoid, but like I say, a lot of the time when I'm adding new things, I just need to prioritise adding things over saving the save files in the demo. So that's the save file situation. And like I say, when the game actually releases, the whole idea of me doing all of this now is so that it doesn't crash when you have a save file later on, when you've actually bought the game. So that's that. The next thing is progress on the game. I'm making good progress. Steady is good. I've recently added the level 100,000 enemy, which is good. So we've got quite a few new maps. We have 140 enemies in the game currently, which is a number I'm quite proud of. And we've also got quite a few new items. So we have 27 relics, 104 weapons, 47 pieces of armor, 41 novels, 189 accessories, and 15 pairs of boots. We also have a couple of secret bosses, and I've recently added one super boss, and this one functions quite differently to a lot of the other bosses in the game, but I'm not going to talk about that too much because I want that to be a surprise. So, and it's not Chronos. So, there's a lot in the game at the minute. I'm expanding upon it regularly. It's going good, and I think I'm on track to release in March. There is a chance I might have to delay it to 2027. No, it's going to come out in March. That is a plan. I don't plan on deviating from that at all. If I do, there will be a very good reason why. But I have planned for... I've also sort of looked ahead and thought of everything that could delay the game, and that's why I chose March, because that just gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case things go wrong. So, March release. Still on track. The next thing I want to talk about is the engine update plans. I'm planning on doing a performance update to the game at some point. This won't really be recognisable or noticeable during the demo because it'll be done after that. But hopefully when the game actually comes out and you install it, you should notice it runs a little bit better. So yeah, I plan on doing some changes there. So if you're on a mobile device and you notice you're struggling a little bit with the performance, I mean, I know I am. I'm on a Samsung Chronos Trials RPG case, by the way. But yeah, I'm on the Samsung A12, and yeah, I do notice some slowdown every now and then, so I'm hoping the engine update optimizes it a little bit. On top of that, I've also figured out a way to massively reduce the file size. Essentially, I had two different types of audio file, M4A and OGG, and basically every single piece of music in the game, I had two audio tracks to have it work. But after I export, I found out I can get rid of one file type entirely, which literally saves about 100 megabytes. There's a lot of, pretty much all of the megabytes of data are actually just in music. So I can get rid of most of that, which is good. So I think the demo reached about 260 megabytes. It's now sitting at about 120. So yeah, I've managed to cut down on the file size quite a lot, and I know how I can going forward as well. So that's good. The next thing I want to talk about is secrets. There's going to be a lot of secrets in the game. I've already added quite a few hidden bosses, hidden mechanics, hidden rooms, treasure chests, things like that. I plan on this being a game that really rewards exploration and kind of looking into every room, trying to figure out different things. There's going to be a lot of secrets, essentially. I want there to be secrets that people don't find for months, and then one person randomly stumbles across it, and they're the first one to find it out. There's going to be some really obscure ones, like using a random accessory with a certain enemy will trigger something, things like that. I've already got one instance of that in the game, with a certain boss with a certain relic, and yeah, there's a few other instances like that in the game at the minute. So yeah, kind of think a little bit about some of the items you get, what you could do with some of the enemies with that item, things like that. Obviously, there might be some cases where it seemed like it would be a good match and I've just missed it, but yeah, for the most part, there will be a lot of secret interactions. So that's something to kind of look out for. And like I say, the super boss I've added is really quite difficult to come across, but it can be accessed pretty soon. And it's something you can actually defeat sooner than you might think as well. So yeah, that's a fun one. I really don't want to talk more about it than that. But once you find it, it'll be really cool, I think. I enjoyed making it. The next thing I want to talk about is the narrative. There is going to be a story. This is something I've said quite a few times. But the story will be somewhat optional. There will be obviously the cutscene at the start of the game, and there's going to be a few sort of going throughout, but sort of a deeper dive into the story will be completely optional. A lot of the information will be given through talking to NPCs about things, looking at books and libraries and things like that. So it is entirely optional if you want to go and sort of learn more about this world, learn more about kind of what story you're in, or if you just want to go and fight anything that's got a level number above its head, that is also an option. So yeah, I do plan on sort of expanding upon the lore a little bit of the game, but obviously I'm not a story writer, I'm not an amazing kind of author or anything crazy. The game will be fairly simple in its story, so don't expect like a new Baldur's Gate kind of story going on, as nice as it would be. The next thing is early access. I've already mentioned how the release date is looking good for March. That's fine. Something I'm working on currently is releasing the demo onto Google Play. So it'll be a lot easier to install, a lot easier to update, and this will be something that will be present even after the game's released as well. So anyone can try it. That was just a small thing I wanted to mention. The next thing is a little system I've added to the game, and I want to keep a lot of these kind of hidden and secret, and just something for you to discover when you play. But this is something I kind of want to briefly mention, is the honor system, or karma. A lot of the NPCs you'll encounter throughout the game will give you choices on how you interact with them, and some of those choices will affect the other outcomes that you come across in your game. There'll be kind of two main routes. There'll be, honorable. You are nice to everyone, you help out everyone, you do the right thing constantly, and the opposite of that, stealing from people, backstabbing people, things like that. Both will be options, and the game won't necessarily punish you for going one of two ways. Both will have their perks, essentially. It's not going to be a major point of the game either. It's just a small extra system that's in the game, and it will affect how your ending happens. So that's kind of tying in with the narrative a little bit there. But that is in there. So yeah, choose to be nice to people or don't. Both will benefit you. And yeah, that's just something that's going to be in the game as well. It is going to be a choices matter. It's not going to be like Baldur's Gate where you've got 20 million endings based on, if you spoke to this one guy called Jeff about his toy truck or something, I don't know. But yeah, there's going to be a couple of endings, I'd say. Maybe 3 potentially based on how you do. But yeah, it's just going to be sort of a little bit different in each playthrough. The next thing is the current wishlist count on Steam. We are currently at 70 wishlists, which is great. So, yeah, I'm very happy with that number because when I started out making the game, the original plan was purely just to have a massive soundtrack. I wanted to just make music. I'm a music student, like I say, so the plan was just to make a game, put like 50 pieces of music in it, and call it a day, and just sort of share that as a portfolio piece. But obviously the game's developed quite a bit since then. We've had quite a few new people join. You know, I was kind of shocked when we hit even 50 members, and then we hit 100, and then 200, and we're almost at 300, which is brilliant. I'm really quite pleased. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm really grateful for everyone that's played the game, for all of the feedback I've got. A lot of it's been really nice, and anything that hasn't has always been worded pretty nicely anyway. It's kind of saying, hey, this is cool, but this kind of sucks. But for good reason, here's why. And it's always been constructive, which is good. I've never had any comments that are just outright, this game is bad. And that means a lot. I understand, you know, like I say, I'm a musician, not a game developer, so I understand that there are going to be a lot of faults in my game. There's going to be some interesting choices, which shouldn't have been done. But, you know, all of the feedback's been constructive, and it's stuff I've actually been able to work on. So, yeah, I'm grateful for that. So keep the feedback coming. Keep telling me, you know, what you like about the game, what you don't like about the game, what you need changed, what's weak, what's strong, everything like that. It's really helpful because then I can act upon it and then get the game ready for early access. One final thing I want to mention is the save progress will not transfer between demo and the full version. This is something I've mentioned an awful lot, but I want to reiterate it in every single video. The save progress won't transfer. And I think it's fairly obvious why, but obviously with the amount of changes I'm making at the minute, especially to the game's balance, I want to make sure everyone gets the full intended experience of the game once it comes out, and not something that's kind of half broken because they got certain items they shouldn't have got, or their items don't exist anymore, or they're kind of now stuck in a random spot because they got really far, then they got heavily nerfed because of the build they were using, all of that kind of stuff. So new save file when a game comes out, that is something to kind of watch out for. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. I'm just looking at my list I wrote. Yeah, I think I've covered everything I want to cover. So, yeah. Apologies again for the save file issues. That is a main thing. But like I say, it's for good reason. It's not just due to lazy coding. Maybe a little bit. But yeah, for the most part, it's literally just because I'm adding new features and the old save files just don't work with those new features. So, that is everything. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for playing, if you are. And if you have any suggestions for the game, any questions from me, any pieces of feedback, anything at all, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll reply to all of them within a decent amount of time. And yeah, feel free to join the Discord server if you want to get more consistent updates. I try and do these about once a month because progress is slow and steady, so it makes sense to do it once a month as opposed to, I added 2 new enemies, goodbye. So yeah, that's that. Yeah. Alright. Have a good day. See you.